What's going on, y'all? This is Crash Out Kings. With Kings come to crash out. This is the therapeutic podcast. AOT, let's take it off as always.
Yeah, because this is a solemn podcast because basically the king is dead, man. Like we just seen the end, the end of basically the leader of this entire scene. Like, and I know a lot of people are gonna want to hear your opinion on it, like right off the bat. You said you've been getting DMs of people being like, "Yo, what do you think about all this?" So I think you could take us off.
Uh, Honestly, I'm not surprised.
Hmm.
Um, like I've heard rumors throughout the years, but I'm not one to jump on rumors because I've had multiple rumors spread about me.
Hmm.
I've never really fed much into it. But just being in this scene as long as I have been, and like going to shows and shit like that, and being there in the earliest stages, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember I used to be with like young bands and all those dudes like that, and just seeing the atmosphere and the culture behind scenes when like the show's over. I've seen some questionable looking females go backstage with some artists that I don't care to really speak about, but
Yeah.
and I you can't, I'm not gonna run up to the girls and be like, yo, like, can I see your ID and shit like that. But I've definitely seen shit. And then just looking at the state of this genre, I don't know what it is, if it's the music, if it's the lyrics, if it's the overall aesthetic. I don't know what is contributing to these artists being infatuated with younger girls,
Hmm.
I mean, or domestic violence, which I have committed as well, which I'm, very regretful for. But when you make music like this, people have to expect that sometimes when people are screaming into a mic and they're saying very violent things, it's probably because they're not in the best mental state,
Hmm.
and it's probably because they're actually fucked up. Because you got to think about it, like scientifically, like to get on a mic and to be screaming and in this genre, like you got to have a warped perception of the world, which could be a good thing, which is where art comes from. But with the whole thing with Zilla, it doesn't surprise me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I just feel bad for him now because he created an island where he didn't help anybody else in the genre, pull them up. So now when he needs people, nobody's there to help him because where the fuck was he for
Yeah.
years?
And it's very weird to see because like as soon as it started happening, I mean, there's been stuff floating around with Righteous P for a little bit, and I'd heard that like glimpses of it. So when people started hitting me up about the Zilla stuff, I was like, okay, it's probably just like another one of these. I mean, we had the whole situation with the Sosa allegations coming out, and those were kind of just like came and went because they didn't seem like that big of a deal. But these ones, like, it almost seemed like once it was Zilla, it was like then it was like people were excited to hand them to me. They were like, look, like this is Zilla's about, and you can tell there's a genuine, like, some people are sad, but it seems like most people are almost giddy to be like, he's about to go down, it's awesome. And I do want to get into that a little bit later on, but it's like this is not a good thing at all. Like whether you like Zilla or not, I know that people think like Zilla's gone, it's pouring rain, sorry, Zilla's gone, that means that the space is finally open for us. But it's like you gotta understand is that like the scene is like down here on the ground floor, and Zilla was like so far up here. So he's gone. If he's gone, there's nobody else. Where's the middle stages? Where's the middle rungs? Where's the middle artist? It's either you're small, or you're Zilla. You know what I mean? So I can't see anybody else being able to rise up to meet that reputation that he has, and not to mention he's been the face of this genre forever. The last person keeping it, like, yes, X, but X has been passed away. People remember him more for the sad stuff. Skylord, I guess, like, I don't, not really, like, as much as people like to pretend. Like, Skylord is known in kind of a YouTube type of way, but like I don't feel like people are really bumping him like anywhere, like out and about. You're never gonna meet somebody who's gonna be like, oh, I love Skylord in real life. You know what I mean? So it's like I just don't see anybody. It just, to me, the industry is gonna be like, wow, like we tried to let another one in. We tried to let Zilla be part of this, and they're just gonna throw the whole thing out because it's over and over again. It's Tokyo. It's, you know what I mean. I'm trying to think of like Zilla. Like Tokyo was a huge one that happened too. Zilla, like there's ones I can think of. I don't even want to say their name because it's not even worth it. But it's happened time and time and time again to the point that like nobody's even gonna want to interact with this genre anymore. So I think it's a very bad thing that he has fallen in a way. You know.
Yeah, it's definitely bad. I can definitely agree with that because what it is too is that there's not a lot of artists because people like Zilla should have pulled up more people. You know what I'm saying? Because Tokyo really started to reach out, collab with all these different artists and shit like that. And I think when you build that community, right, then you have an array of different artists who don't have these sort of problems and or allegations. So
Mm.
when a nigga like Zilla falls or a nigga like XYZ falls, then all these other dudes have been put in place to keep this shit moving despite if one of the overlords fall off. But
Yeah.
because nobody in this genre likes to pull anybody else up when they do blow, then now you have these, like, it's very sporadic and very few that really stand for the scene. So now I blame the audience too. I blame the people too for not challenging Zilla the way they should have. I think that's why his music has declined, is because, like, when you sit on the island and you have no competition in your head, or and the people don't like enforce you to really get out there and push yourself, then you kind of start to make mediocre music and probably get depressed and go to Thailand and start kicking fucking punching bags and shit like
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying?
It
So
gets
I think that,
yeah.
go
No.
ahead.
It like it gets weird when I can kind of understand in a way why he didn't want to pull anybody up, because even like we've seen, even on, I would describe, we're on a smaller level, that we've even tried to give some people like that that I don't even know, the opportunity, I guess, like, come be around us, we're going to try to put you on a similar level, we can all work together. And as soon as they get that, like, this is our moment, they run off, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, screw all that, that needs, you know what I mean? It's so competitive in trap metal, it's weird. And it's kind of interesting. I was talking to Leprosy today, and he brought up a pretty good point. You know that whole situation where like Josiah and Snot had that song together, and then Josiah got a lot bigger than Snot, signed a deal, and then cut Snot off the song. Leprosy was telling me that Josiah also had a song with a guy named Dayquil Pharaoh, and he cut him off a song too, but nobody knows about that, because I think in Josiah's mind at the time it was like, I cut them now, all these people in the trap metal community know about it, but you can just totally go off to the mainstream, just run away, and nobody will remember, because nobody remembers Dayquil Pharaoh now. You know what I mean? He was able to cut. The only reason that Snot became a problem is because Snot then made it to the mainstream after him. And that's all to say that, like, there's what we see down here, and then there's what the actual music scene sees, and they really only see Zilla. Like, people's telling me, well, Zarkon is like kind of the second, he's the closest to being the second biggest in the scene. It's like, I don't really know about that. Like, I've heard of Zarkon, but I wouldn't say that like anybody in the mainstream level or anybody is gonna know who. Nothing against him, but you know what I mean. Like, there's nobody that's really there.
Well, you know what it is too, is that Zilla had this component of Zilla really, and that's why he started changing his beat selection, is because, like, if you want to break into the mainstream, you have to have some component of like mainstream. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like hopping on with the heavy metal vocals, whatever people want to call it, and then having the crazy guitar riffs and the thrax type beats. Then I don't think it labels and the higher ups aren't really too excited to pull you up there, because for one, they don't know how to really market you.
Mm.
It's an untested market. So I think that's why 6ix9ine fucking blew the minds off of people, is because he took that, look, he got the sticky. Oh, he kept that same intensity, but then dropped it on a gummo beat, and then
Mm.
that's when the industry was like, I've never in a million years thought that with his vocal style that he would have made it to the heights he did. This dude went on and fucking beefing with like fucking Trippy Red. He went on a beefing with fucking, bro, like Lil Durk and all those
Mm.
dudes. Fucking
Chief
French
Keef.
Montana, Chief
Yeah.
Keef, French Montana.
The
Like
game.
that's huge,
Yeah.
and so that's what you kind of need, and I think that's what this genre is lacking. That's
Mm.
why, like, I'm going my own way. Like, I'm trying to make fucking ratchet metal. Like, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna start taking like dope trapped out Chief Keef type beats, whatever you want to call them,
Mm.
and adding my style onto that shit. You know what I'm saying? So my shit can rock out in the clubs. My shit can be felt in the streets,
Mm.
because you got to be heard, universally, no matter what style you're doing. And I think that that's why this genre has been put in such a box, is because everybody is hopping on the same kind of fucking beats, and then everybody is trying to sound alike, and nobody's standing out. That's why when fucking Tokyo hit, him rapping and then going hard and then switching it up, like all that shit was exciting. It was new, it was dope. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? If you ask me, I think Tokyo Revenge is a direct product of X, and Ski put into one person.
Yeah.
That's what he did. It's genius. He took Ski's, he rapping, and then
Yeah.
he took X's like intensity. If you ask me, another artist who did that, I at least believe is Ghostman.
Hmm.
I think Ghostman took the Suicide Boys and put them into one fucking person.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, like he has the scrim parts, and then he has the like he literally took
Yeah.
both of those two and put them into one nigga and became Ghost Man. You know what I'm saying? And those things are creative. To be honest, people might say he's taken from other people, but those things are creative. Nobody in the genre is doing that, bro. Nobody in this genre is trying to be authentic and creative.
And he
And
was
I think that's
also
the problem.
yeah, and he was also just like he was just kind of that guy. Like I hate to say it because like his crimes are like even way worse than like Zilla's, but it's like it was the personality too. It was like everything surrounding it. Like he came up with those two songs, and then he did like that Seven mixtape, and I remember like thinking like, oh my god, there's too much space between your drops, Tokyo. Like you were waiting for the next one. You know what I mean? It was like, but he would just feed
Yeah.
enough that it was like, here I'm gonna give you just a little bit, like 7 songs, 2 songs. You seen him on interviews, and he had all these dudes around him. It wasn't just him and So sitting there like chewing on fucking incense. It was like, yo, like I'm really here with the whole ass underground, and you're like, damn, like it
Yeah.
makes you want to think. And then the Slutty Sunny was there. You know, you have, and like I think that's kind of what trap metal. If I wasn't super tapped in 2017, but that's what it used to be. It's like even when you look back, it's like you had Zilla and Sos, and then you had Cameron Nazi and Subjects, and then you had Gotti Moreno and Guap Mizzle. You know what I mean? You had Burncast and Drown Miller. It was like all these different combos of like rappers that all like intersected. And then it's like that's what I always want to talk about with Zilla too, is that his come up was so weird too. It was like so slow and methodical that before like I think anyone realized it, like we're all on the same level, and then it's like damn, like he's just way up there now. Like how did he even get up there? Like it didn't even it. It's like I don't know. To me, it never felt super organic. If that makes any sense. Like it definitely was. I'm not saying he was planted, but it was just like all of a sudden we come in and it's like why is Zilla way up there now? Like you know what I mean? Like how? What do you think caused that?
I kind of disagree because like being really in the scene at that point,
Hmm.
I seen it coming, like I seen it coming, and I think everyone else did too. There has never been a doubt in my mind, or I think anybody who I've ever associated with in the underground scene who doubted Zilla's um taking of the throne, if you may say. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because Zilla had the perfect package. Zilla had the image, right? And then what he did too is that at the time the image was already being created, but those motherfuckers in New York, bro, like they are. I mean, it's one of the fashion capitals,
Hmm.
and it's like their blend of like Balenciaga with like heavy metal fucking like aesthetics
Hmm.
just went crazy as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because they weren't just like Scarlord. It's just a full costume. No, they had
Hmm.
like fucking Yankees hats on and shit with like leather jackets, with some Jordans, with their crazy pants. Like the aesthetic was there. So boom, you're like, oh shit, this is polarizing as fuck.
Hmm.
And then you have to understand that Zilla, unlike a lot of other people, myself included, Zilla had his big brother behind the scenes,
Hmm.
basically like guiding that whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think Zilla would have been where he is if not for P. Like, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind because
Hmm.
Zilla would have had to have done it organically, right? But P seen the talent within his circle and put motherfuckers in position, and they
Hmm.
all played their part. And
Yeah.
that's why I think it seemed like a very slow, methodical. Because I mean, bro, when there's a plan, it unrolls.
Hmm.
It's not because the quicker you come, the quicker you leave. So I think them building that image, that perception, being methodical about their drops, their pictures they post,
Hmm.
I think it was for the taking. You know what I'm saying? And then Tokyo came out, and I think to all of us, Tokyo was like super fucking dope, and we were like, what the fuck, but Tokyo was just like this baby who came out of nowhere and just like was just fucking, he was dope though. His music, I remember hearing it
Hmm.
first time, like, oh shit, like there's a new competitor, you know what I'm saying? And then I don't know really the behind the scenes of like how he got so big, which I think there was some sort of planning with him, because like although he had great music, like how the fuck did he jump? Like this dude just literally like he just like fucking like pogoed the fucking whole scene
Yeah.
out of nowhere. And and it's like it's to be expected with music that good, but it almost seemed a little bit like it didn't seem authentic though. You know what I'm saying? Something about his whole come up, 2 songs and he's famous. Like that's
Yeah.
never happened.
I think it was
What
because
are your
of
thoughts on that?
Well, I think it was because of TikTok. Because like people always talk about like, well, NASCAR really like, because NASCAR was another one that at a certain point probably was the right hand of Zilla, like the second biggest guy in the scene. I would say at one point NASCAR was, and he had a song that got big on TikTok, but that was like in 2019, so TikTok wasn't really TikTok
TikTok
yet,
wasn't a thing
you
when
know?
when he was out. I remember just him just like literally, bro. It was like I was in a car one day and they're like, "You hear about this new dude?" I'm like,
Yeah.
and then everywhere I went, everyone was like, yo, Tokyo, Tokyo. And I'm like, how the fuck did this nigga just blow up? I mean, it could have happened. It just didn't seem as slow brewing as some of the
But that's what
other
I'm saying because
acts.
like Darky and NASCAR were the two other like TikTok stars, but they hit in like TikTok was around in 2019, but the pandemic turned TikTok into the new SoundCloud, and he just happened to be at the right time where it was like because there was a few months after March when like like pandemic started, they started getting like Pow Fu and all these songs like Corvette Corvette, and Tokyo just got in the right spot. He said something about James Charles. He called him the F slur, so that got people's attention. And like it was so crazy because I remember like thinking like at that point in I think it was 2019. No, it was like 20. Sorry, no, it was 2021 when he was coming out. I don't know, sometime around there. We had like Mario Judas and stuff, and I was like, damn, SoundCloud just feels like it's dying. And then like all of a sudden, my friends like that just listen to mainstream music were like, yo, this guy, and I'm like, this is fucking dope because I've been waiting for Zilla or somebody to get up there, for somebody to finally cross through, but to come full circle back to Zilla. I think the reason that he never really crossed through to where Tokyo was getting was really the personality problem. He had everything around him, and there's even a disconnect because me and you know like what Zilla's actually like. That he's got the personality of a plank of wood, and he barely speaks. But so many people when they started watching my videos are like, what, like Zilla wasn't a gangbanger, like Zilla really isn't this demon that it's like, no, like it's a fucking costume just as much as Skylord. It's a little bit of a better costume, but like, yeah, of course Zilla's not fucking talking like it's a concept of the devil, like dude, he ain't like that. It was always a costume from day one. He wore it well, but he got to that spot where he's talking to Lil Uzi Vert. He got to that spot where he's got those opportunities, and he's just like, yeah, man, I'm just like, I'm fried. Meanwhile, Tokyo was like, yeah, bro, like get over here. He's with Josiah. He's turning up with Josiah. Josiah was a little bit before him. He was really like out there with the guys. Like he was really like, these are the guys that are in trap metal. Like put my arm around him. Let's fucking get to the top. You know what I mean? Where Zilla was just like, I'm too big for you. But when I talk to bigger artists, I'm too awkward to actually, form any sort of connection. So it just comes off as like a business dealing. And you could see Uzi never really did anything with him again.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, and that's true too. And like I said it last time. I said, man, like when your facade is so thick. First of all, that water is gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Was
love that shit.
yeah.
Fuck yeah. But when your facade is so thick, and then you're confronted with like people who are really themselves, because I've been through times in my life with identity issues growing up in America, being a mixed kid. Like I've put on thicker personas to be in certain groups, but I remember feeling how Zilla looks uncomfortable, and like I almost didn't know what to say. So I kept it vague and short, but I was fucking awkward. And then I remember just like embracing like me and really, loving who I am, no matter who the fuck I'm talking to. This is why in prison, I'm saying I was able to do what the fuck I did and to move the way I moved because I got respect from the fucking Southsiders and Northsiders, GDs, BDs, like everybody because I'm me. I hung out in prison with like the hardest niggas because like they were the most humble. The killers and all them, they were the dudes who were funny, chill, relaxed. Because when you are that, you don't have to pretend to be that. And me coming around these killers, being goofy and just myself, like they loved me. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that Zilla struggles with is that because fucking Righteous P has been playing Geppetto, right? So now Righteous P can't fucking like fucking stick his hand up the shit and talk for him sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like now Zilla's like caught in this crossroads of like, I wonder what Pete would tell me to say right now. Wait, maybe I should just be myself. Wait, I don't know if I should be myself. Damn, I don't know if people will like me. And I think that's why, like, I think sometimes, like, yeah, like it is that he put himself on the island, but I think it was also insecurity. I think he didn't know what to do. I think he
Yeah.
even like, bro, he hasn't posted a picture in 2 years. I think he kind of really lost like it became too much. Like the Zilla fucking character, that's why he always talks about depression and shit. It's because when you're split between two different worlds, how do you work on yourself? How do you work on your mental health when you're half the time you're this like fucking demon boy and this and that, but then the real you is just like this lighthearted nerd who likes tattoos and like rock music and skinny Asian chicks.
Yeah.
And but then the world needs you to be Godzilla. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
And
I think it fucks with you. It fucks with your mind. It fucks with you, bro.
And it's true because now that you're thinking about that, I think absolutely every single interview Zilla has done, he said something extremely stupid. That one with he talked about tattooing his dick in one of them. He admitted to living with his mom still in another one. He in the Brandon Buckingham one, and you can say what you want, but this was corny. When he was asked about 6ix9ine, he said, "I haven't thought much about him since he fake screams." That's really fucking corny to say when you're as big as Zilla to be like hating. Like you should have said, "I'm not going to say anything." That was fucking corny. In the most recent one, they said, "How do you feel about your success?" He's like, "I don't feel like I'm on the level that I need to be." Like and this is what it comes down to because I do want to wrap around to the allegations to be like, do we believe them? Do we not? Whether I believe him or not right now, what it really comes down to, why I think it feels like such a betrayal to the whole scene, is that Zilla had all that and he didn't appreciate what he had whatsoever. Like, instead of being like, I'm the king of this thing, like, you know what I mean? Whether he wanted to bring people up or not, I'm not sure what happened with that because he probably had weird energy. That's one thing, but to just sit there and be like, yeah, I'm rich, I'm the king of this shit, I'm going to sit around and suck nitrous and just screw around with, like, not even try to have any semblance, like, that doesn't come from the same place that it comes from with like other people who are really like I don't want to say his name, but some of these people are really seeking it out on a power thing. Like, I need to be with these girls because like I need to feel like the dude that I want to be. Like, I feel like with Rare.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say it, but it's like he wants to be that rapper. He wants to be King Young Rare, but he doesn't feel like that. But these little girls make him feel like King Young Rare. That's his thing. Zilla, it just comes from like he's in his fucking bed. He's on fucking drugs. He's depressed. He's looking up at the ceiling. It's dark. He's with his mom, and he's just like, well, I'm just gonna not bother today, and I'm just gonna hit up girls, and he's just not thinking about their age. Like, that's where that comes from. It's just apathy with his entire fucking life, and not being like, you know what, I'm fucking Zillakami. Like, today I'm gonna go out and interact with some fans, and like go turn up, and like go and like I'm just gonna sit here, and I'm just
He
gonna
could have been
fuck around.
huge.
Yeah,
He could have been massive, bro. Imagine he was doing like not meet and greets, but imagine if he was really out there because the people love that boy. So imagine if he really embraced his fucking fan base, bro. Those motherfuckers would have literally passed out, right? Because he's starved them of his personality for so long that when interacting with them, finally, I think like that would have made such a big fucking difference, bro. And you can't tell me that he couldn't have made more of an effort to break into the mainstream
oh,
with
he
connects like
definitely
Lil
could have.
Uzi and shit.
Yeah.
But he don't care because his whole career has been orchestrated from another man. Who even knows if Zilla wanted to be a rapper?
Yeah, because Zilla even talked about at one point, like after 6ix9ine did all that shit, he was like, I was just walking around with my girl, and then my girl broke up with me, and I'm like, well, I gotta get my money up. It's like he's always been apathetic to fucking everything, and it's lame. It's not cool to be like that. It's not cool to just be apathetic with your entire life. Like,
Yeah, you're putting it on too thick. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just no way. Like, I think yeah. I don't know if he's trying to take after like Andy Warhol with his like ambiguousness or whatever. But it's like even Andy Warhol did it different. Like when they were like, "What does this painting mean?" He's like, "Well, when the wind blows to the north, I think deeply," and it's like, he's like, "Yeah, that's it." And they're like, "What?"
yeah,
At least if he would have gave you some like, "Nigga, what did he just say?" But
yeah,
Zilla's like, "I don't know, man.
yeah.
It is what it is." It's what the fuck? You're not even being creative. Like
No, you're just like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
he's just like, "Ask P."
yeah, no, exactly. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna like drop that for now. I'm gonna say I kind of get it. There's a lot of weirdos in this scene. You make people famous and they run off with the bag and they start acting like there's some people who don't deserve to be famous. Like, there's some people who should really realize that if they were famous, they would be in hell because they would destroy themselves worse than anything else. You probably know exactly who I'm talking about right now, but it goes for a lot of other people too. There's a couple people that really thinking off the top of my head, but Yeah, it's like, and I even feel like 6ix9ine should have done the same thing because you could say the same thing about him. Like, I feel like after he got out of prison, he was never gonna get those mainstream features again. I think he really should have went down to it. He should have went back, like dyed his hair some different fucking color. Like when he did that whole thing where he was jumping out of the bath and he's like, oh, with the big teeth and shit. Like he really should have went back and been like, okay, I'm gonna work with some trap metal artists right now. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go back to my roots. I'm gonna go back to this, and people would have still paid attention. And like I get it probably would have been tough because a lot of these guys would have been like, I'm working with no fucking snitch, but like a lot of them would have because they need that opportunity. Everybody hates 6ix9ine in the trap metal scene, but if given the chance to be around him, they would take the chance. They all we and can we, are we at the point that we can finally drop this? That we no longer have to say, yeah, the only good 6ix9ine songs are the ones with Zilla. What happens now in Zilla? Can we finally drop this? Can we have some actual dialogue about this genre now, or do we just have to continue to fucking crawl up fucking Zilla's fucking cock and continue to just like people? Yeah, but you get what I mean. You said the same thing. Like they got to have the same energy for the dog boy. Like
Yeah, no, and it's true, and it's like in 6ix9ine too, bro. Like he could have done it different, like you said. Gunna is now the king of fucking Atlanta. Gunna is on paperwork snitching on Young Thug, and Young Thug to Atlanta is Jesus Christ. Young Thug has birthed the Little Uzis, Little Uzi from his first interviews. My inspirations: Lil Wayne, Young Thug, Wiz Khalifa. Young Thug birthed, bro. He birthed a whole fucking sound, bro. There would be no Lil Baby without Thug. There would be no Gunna without Thug. There would be no Little Keed without Thug. There would be no Little Got It without Thug. But guess what Thug did, though? Thug brought up all the niggas.
yeah,
Thug is so dope is because he brought niggas up who sounded just like him. He wasn't scared of competition. He embraced them, and that's what Zilla didn't do. I remember one time when me and Killswitch, when Killswitch was still in VP, remember Zilla had done this fucking thing where they were like, it was like clickbait almost, so where P was like, yo, who do y'all think should be the third member of City Morgue? And everyone was like tagging Killswitch at the time.
yeah.
And Righteous P commented and said, we already got a Zilla.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's the idea behind these fucking retards. But when it comes to people like Thug, bro, he did all that. But guess what though? Thug was snitched on by one of his babies, Gunna, and now Gunna is selling out fucking arenas, bro. You know why? Because what Gunna did was Gunna just ignored it.
Yeah.
Gunna ignored it and dropped bangers.
Yeah.
Gunna ignored it and dropped bangers, and everyone was like, "We don't like Gunna, but fuck, bro, like I can't help but to bob my head to this fucking song." You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he did. He ignored the bullshit. He didn't play into it because what 6ix9ine did, 6ix9ine played into it too much. Where it's like, okay, we know you're a rat, and we know you don't care. You're a rat. So guess what? If you don't care, you don't have to tell us you don't care. Show us you don't care.
Yeah.
And not by making reels and videos where you're basically clout chasing and still being a troll. You're right. It's time to pivot and switch it up.
Yeah, and 6ix9ine, it's almost insane to think like how much we actually seen of that dude, and how much once we started to see everything about 6ix9ine, how much we didn't like it. And 6ix9ine gave too much, Zilla gave too little. That's really the almost opposite problems, because 6ix9ine in 2018 would pop out on camera for a minute and be like, yeah, fuck all these guys, and then walk off onto a plane, and you'd be like, damn, okay, that really caught my attention. But when he came back and he dropped Trolls, he's on DJ Academics, look, act, and you're just like, bro, this little guy, he's fucking annoying. Like, I think obviously they knew when he snitched that he wasn't really about that, but you really got to see everything like kind of fade away, and he was wearing these stupid wigs, everything. Like, he really should have came back with that 2022, like when he came with the Janae song. That's what he should have been on from the start. He should have just came back and kept it ambiguous, because everybody cared already. Everybody knew he's going to talk shit, but it should have just been like, I'm going to pop up with a crazy ass song, and I'm going to pop up again. I'm going to keep you guys thinking. But I think everybody got in his head and was like, 6ix9ine, if you don't like continually stay in their like, and continually, they're going to forget about you. I don't think they would have. I think he gave too much to the point that people are like, this is lame, man. Like, you don't even got anything to say. You're over explaining yourself. But then Zilla is the opposite. We don't know shit about him, to the fact that 90% of people in my comments on the video were like, yo, Zilla ain't really like a master fucking blood with like guns going around killing people. Like, no.
Yeah.
But that should be common sense.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's definitely true. So my question to you is, what, like, what so you think there can't be another another king of the genre at this point? You think it's all done?
Yeah, I kind of do feel like it, like, because like I said, it's hard to think because I guess we got people like Killswitch, so it's like that is a surprise. Like but once again, like I know Puya not puppeting him, but so it's like it's almost like somebody from up there needs to reach down and just pick their favorite toy nowadays, as opposed to like any organic rising to the top. And like you said, there's so much of that problem with like we already got a Zilla, even though Killswitch sounds nothing like Zillakami, so I don't even
Yeah.
understand that. Like there's so much comparison. So much is taken from Zilla. All these little dudes with
Yeah.
their colored dreads and the fucking sharp teeth. So none of those guys stand a chance. And it's like, what do we even want to be on top of the genre now? Do we want another fucking Zilla? Because personally, he was a shit fucking king for the time that he was. He didn't do a good job. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We need somebody with that magnetism like X or Tokyo who can show up and just really have a like. It's like you said, and I don't know if it was one of the ones that came out. You said that's why they needed 6ix9ine at first with Scum Squad, because it was like 6ix9ine had the personality. He was really that guy you wanted to pay attention to. Then they took all the aesthetic off of 6ix9ine and put it on Zilla, and it kind of worked, but there was no personality. And Sos is Sos, man. Like, you know.
No, I think I think you're right. I don't think the people should even be looking for a new king. I think what needs to happen is when there's a wildfire and the forest is burned down, people don't know that the soil becomes a lot better
Hmm.
to regrow plants and trees. And I think that this scene needs to be purged, and I think it needs to be completely wiped out. And I think because when you wipe this whole scene out, then people are, I think, liberated to start to make some different kind of music,
Hmm.
to good music, while keeping their roots in this sound, if that's what you want to do. But I think if you still have, because a lot of these people, right, a lot of these artists, in the back of their mind 24/7 when making music, they have Zilla at the forefront of their mind,
Hmm.
or the back, and they're thinking like, how maybe not as like forward thinking as that, as like how can I copy him, but like he's their competition, he's their overlord, he's their lord, he's the guy who, they're going to get on these podcasts and interviews and say, yeah man, like he's the guy who I like look to, and what got me in the scene. So I think this could be a good thing, and I think it needs to be purged, and I think that it's time for the new seeds to kind of grow and to do different things. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to not just get on a beat and scream some inaudible shit that you think sounds metal. Like
Yeah.
redefine your music. Create a new genre.
I would
Create
say,
some new shit.
I would say, okay, if we're looking at it in this way, at the current rate that it's at, because everybody's kind of looking to everybody now to be like, okay, so who's the new Avatar? Who do we decide? This is the way that I would look at it. Kind of your metaphor, Zilla was this big tree casting a shadow over everything. The tree's cut down now, and whether or not Zilla ends up becoming innocent, it's never going to be the same again. It's just never. It's like his persona has cracked now. It's not going to uncrack. So I'm not saying he's never going to do anything again. He might still be around in some capacity, but we'll just pretend that the throne is empty. It's time to fight for that throne now. You're not going to look to other people who can I have it? No. Now it comes to the point that you guys got to fight tooth and nail. Take everything that we just said in this podcast. You just said they got on this thing where they didn't want any competition. We should want competition. Look at projects in Skylord. That's kind of how projects in Skylord got set off. Projects would drop something. People would be like, this is heat. Skylord would drop it. Oh, this is even better. And then it got to the point that Skylord like flew off and then left projects behind, unfortunately. But that competition made people want to check out every single song because they were one-upping each other. Try to one-up people, and don't be afraid to say, like, the thing is if we're all going to be cowardly and we're not going to put anything out there, we got to be willing to be like, if you don't like somebody, put it in a fucking song. Like, there's only going to be one person who rises to the top. It's going to be the person with the most personality, like, you know what I mean? If you're just going to sit there with the mask on in the back, like thinking, I can't do anything, I don't want to have beef on the internet, then give up, because you're not having it. Because you're not even willing to get in the battle.
And that's what it is that personalities rule overall now, and people will see that. People will definitely see, bro. It's because, like, think about Sexy Red, right?
Hmm.
Sexy Red is such a personality, even though she doesn't have much of one, but
Hmm.
she does, because she's just a ratchet ass bitch from the hood. So like her personality is what it is, but she has somehow been able to polarize girls, black dudes, white dudes. Like I like it's crazy. Leprosy's girlfriend was like, I love her. And this is a white chick, you know, who is like Leprosy's twin, you know. So you would be like, "You listen to fucking Sexy Red? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?" And she's like, "I love her." And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "I love how fucking real she is." And that's what it's gonna be. Is that because Sexy Red is not really selling out stadiums or making crazy album sales, but her face card is so much more important than her music, and that's what happened with Cardi B. Cardi B, people loved who she was and how real and straightforward and how unapologetic she was. That it didn't matter too much about that. We all knew that fucking her songs were absolutely fucking hot dog water. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like nobody really cared, bro.
Hmm.
You know, so I think personalities will definitely rule, and I'm very excited to see what happens because I think that a lot of interesting things are going to happen within the next year. So
Everything's different now. All I gotta say is that all those people who got SOS and Zilla features and thought that that would be the rise to the top, like that doesn't mean shit anymore. There is no just getting a Zilla feature and thinking that elevator's closed. We have to legitimately find our own ways. Like it's like all the elevators are closed. There's no feature. A Zarkon feature is not going to mean that much. I guess a Scarlord, he doesn't give features though, so you can kiss that goodbye. There's no feature that's going to rise you to the top now. We got to figure it out. You know what I mean? And to go back to what you're saying about Sexy Red, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, one thing about when I was fighting with Jumix, man, like, everybody's like, you gave him so much attention, but like, he did make a good choice in a way, is that he actually decided to fight with me. And yeah, everybody's like, fuck Jumix, but I guarantee he was getting a lot more attention on his music because they made this is apathy is the opposite. What's that saying? It's like apathy is the opposite is the devil or some shit. I don't know. It's like something to do with, but basically, whether they hate you or they like you, and I know everybody wants to be loved, but I'm going to tell you something right now. As soon as I got over like 3,000 subscribers, you're going to get hate comments. Like you're going, and if you're too insecure to be able to handle that, you got to get over it or it's going to bother you forever. So I'm not saying go out and just be the most hated person of all time. Don't go out there and be a monster, but like get people's reaction whatever way you can. You know what I mean? Happy, angry. If they're talking about you, they're talking about you. It gets you more fame. And that is the way that absolutely every single artist does it. I don't want to hear like, well, Skylar was authentic right to the. It's people still talk about him. People still don't like him. They still everybody plays into that in some capacity. It's not a 6ix9ine thing. It's not a Jumix thing. And Zilla sitting there and having nobody talk about him, his spike went up now. Everybody's talking about him now. Even the king didn't want to do anything, and look where it landed him. So you're all going
yeah,
to follow that same line, except for you're not going to hit those heights unless you start being a player in this game. You start showing what you're really like. You start showing your personality in your music. Like Kaligaga's Wrath, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. That dude made a song where he's like, you guys are flexing on your stories, thinking that whatever, but this fucking scene is full of pedos. And I'm like, damn, that's such a basic thing to say, but I'm like, dude's really. That guy, I remember him now. I completely remember him every time he talks to me because I'm like, that dude actually is talking about something. Like, he
yeah,
actually is willing to put some skin in the game and be like, yeah, there's a bunch of pedos in this scene. Why not talk about that? Talk about anything. Talk about how the drugs, like, in this scene, how everybody's like, yo, I'm popping a bean, now I'm lit. And then half of these dudes are fucking actual junkies who do, like, fentanyl and trank, dude. Like,
yeah.
just say more in the music is what I'm trying to say, and show more your personality because
Yeah. But back to what you were saying. I remember Young Thug years and years ago, after when he was like at the height of his career, he said that he wished that he had the same hate that he did when he dropped what's that one song? Forever. Like when he
yeah.
dropped that shit, niggas were like, what the fuck? This nigga ain't even rapping. He's just saying crazy shit. His voice is ridiculous. He's fucking sucks. And he's copying Lil Wayne. So I remember him saying like, "Yo, I wish I had those same haters because I was so much more popping when motherfuckers were hating on me." I remember even like the little junkie fucking Wi-Fi's funeral said the same thing. I remember him being like, "Yo, I need more hate in my comments, y'all. Like, turn me up, you know." And it's true. But yeah, I think show your personality, talk your shit, come on a podcast. You know what I'm saying? If you ready to really shake things up, and I think we should go into the allegations.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, what do you want to say about it? I mean, it's basically, it's a lot of, a lot of it came out. Okay, so you want me to kind of explain like where it all started?
Sure, you can. Yeah, let's like kind of glaze over it, and then you give your opinion on what you speculate, and I'll do the same.
Okay. So, like I said, so it's basically, it seems like this girl had a very bad relationship with Zillakami. She wasn't underage, but she was like, I'm gonna really get you if you don't, like, I have a really bad secret about you, something you don't want to come out, and if you don't start behaving, not really sure where that came from, but she ended up sharing this other girl's story named Sleazy Skiz, who was basically an underage girl that Zillakami was talking to, and then basically he deleted a lot of messages, which makes it now hard to really know what they said to each other. But those are all kind of like, it also kind of shows in a way that if he's deleting messages, then it's like there's something to hide. You know what I mean? That he kind of thought afterwards that it was bad. And then he's had a bunch of other stuff come out about like 17-year-olds, like stuff that doesn't seem that bad, but then you find out that if you search on Google, Zillakami's age shows 1999, but he was actually born in 1998. So whether Google screwed up or what, the fact that you would in any way not clear up your actual age is super weird, which also, I hate to say it, but also makes me think about Sos, because Sos also lies about his age, and it's like, lying about your age is super, super weird. But
Yeah.
Zilla definitely, he really hurt himself when he put out those messages on. He basically responded to it and said like, this girl made me go through the worst time of my life. I was in a mental hospital over her, and everybody was like, bro, that goes to show that's a certain type of abuse that these artists, or not even artists, everybody's probably known somebody in their life like that. It's abuse, mental abuse, where it's like, all right, I'm done with this. Like, you just don't treat me good. If you leave, I'm gonna kill myself. It's that type of shit. It comes off as that, and especially if she is 16, dude. Like it
Yeah.
just really. And I think I said that was the crack in his mask, because to me, I was like, kind of expected it because I've always known he's been a plank of wood. But I think to everybody's like, the Demon Lord just said that some girl put him in the hospital. What?
Mhm.
And that's really when the fan base started, I think, splitting off. You got the very young probably supporters who were like harassing the girl and being like, no, Zilla is still, but like, it's with everybody. Once the mask starts to slip off, it does, you can't put it back on, you know what I mean? There's eventually it will fully come off, but once the cracks start showing and they see what's behind, it's gonna be super and I feel like that's why me and you are good, because it's like there's no mask for me. I'm not playing any characters, so like, you know what I mean. Anything that comes out
Yeah.
is would be pretty in character for me. But
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you?
No, it's definitely true, and that's why I've been very forthright with my allegations and my crime and everything like that. 'Cause I think it's important, and I think like I want to continuously show myself that I took an oath to never engage in those sort of behaviors ever again. And so when you do that, you have to own it. You have to own it, and you can't make excuses. I
Mm,
never went online and was like, yeah, my ex was just like there's a lot of shit about my ex that I could say, but it just like for what? And it just makes me look like I'm trying to minimize and that I'm trying to gaslight. You know what I'm saying? And then for Zilla to drop that being like she put me in a mental hospital, bro, it's like this is why you don't date. My sister gave me some, I remember years ago, and I remember I was in college or whatever, and I was like I was like fucking 19, and I was talking to a chick who was um I think she was like 18, and it's only a year difference. But my sister's like, bro, go higher. Like, don't date under, because fucking with a chick younger than you is how you get your feelings hurt.
mm,
Now, that's not in all cases, but when you're dealing with a big ass age gap like Zilla was,
mm.
how are you letting this little girl ruin your emotional state? But you know what it is too is that Zilla's probably not very intelligent or emotionally smart, because he had to realize that this little girl is probably driving him crazy because she's not meant to be in a fucking relationship with an older person. When you're a child, you don't know yourself. You don't know how to interact with people. You don't know how to conduct yourself when you're emotionally stimulated, or you don't know how to deal with stress. So guess what? She's going to act like a child, and Zilla's like, why don't you understand? Like, why,
Yeah.
why are you not more mature about this? And it's like, nigga, because she's 16, stupid. Like,
Yeah.
so now your dumbass is stressing yourself out because you're egotistical and you think that for some reason, like that, because you wanted this chick, that she has to fit this image that doesn't exist.
Yeah. And like I said, once again, it's I know it's like to some people everything's the same thing, but I think a lot of it with Zilla is just it's stunted growth on his end. Like one of the girls said, it's like he never grew up. He got famous so young, and he's still the mentality of like a 17-year-old boy. Like he just wants to go and get high and make music and like, oh mom, you're not letting me drop my album. Oh, I'm gonna pout. And then he hooks up with younger girls because like, yeah, I'm sure like
That's his mental state.
yeah.
If you're still there, like for example, like I heard the statistic, like when you go into prison, the age you go in is the age you leave, right? So that's what probably happens with fame too, and that's why all these child Disney stars are all fucked off because they never had the opportunity to grow up the way you and I did, no matter what's on what side of the world we did. And I think that you're right. Like you hit the nail on the head. He is still in a 17-year-old's maturity like mindset. So that's why he probably doesn't have a fetish for younger girls, but he thinks that he relates more and they relate more to him than
Yeah.
an older woman who is probably more seasoned and who's not going to put up with his ridiculous bullshit.
And it's once again, it's like I know that everybody says like Zilla could have any girl he wants. It's like I really feel like we got to break down because everybody thinks this way. And if you're a young guy who's never gotten any, like let me try to explain this to you. Being a rapper, the reason that some of these rappers really attract women is because they're already your type A personalities, so they're already really out there. They're already really like charismatic because that's what women mostly look for is charisma. And then they get money on top of that, which draws more attention to them. And then a woman gets in a conversation like, "Damn, this guy's got money." Like, yeah, it comes down to the money and that he's a rapper, but it's also like this guy's already a big presence. With Zilla, there's not gonna be a bunch of girls. Like, yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of seeing chicks that are gonna be like, "Oh, he's so dark and cool. Like, I just want to." But like, that's like a little girl reading Twilight, being like, "Jacob is so." That's what he's gonna attract. Like, he's not gonna walk into a club with a bunch of like 25-year-old like attractive women and draw their attention. He's just gonna sit in the corner. Like, yeah, the face tats are cool, but in New York, I'm sure it's not that special to really look like that. So the only ones that are really attracted to him are the ones that are going to grade A, like the little girls who put on the merch and are like, "Silly, you're so cool," and then they get around him and they realize like, oh, this guy's not the demon lord. Like he's not sitting there like flicking his hair back. He's just like he's kind of a little kid, man. So attracting somebody his own age, and it's like similar to Sos. It's like they don't have those personalities that like Annalie Chopper. Like, of course he gets women because Annalie's funny as fuck. You get like women are just they're attracted to confidence. They're attracted to Zilla reeks of a lack of confidence. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
like that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying like he's not gonna be the dude who's gonna pull a million people. So he goes younger. It's different than somebody like Rare who is going younger because he wants to feel like he's a big man and these women will only make him feel like a big man. Zilla's just using these girls as another drug. He's just, I hate life. Nitrous, I hate life. Oh, girl, pussy, you know what I mean? Oh, cigarette, like, oh, I can't be alive. I can't do anything. I can't stand this. Like, that's what it comes off across as me. Like, it's just anything to numb himself out. And these girls are just another drug to him, just another, you know?
Yeah.
So,
No, I totally agree. Like I said, man, I don't wish anything bad on the boy. Everything could be it could be false. But from what I've seen, and dealing with my own domestic experience, you kind of know because like my ex kind of said some shit that was like just ridiculous, bro. And I don't even care to speak on it because like it when it's really not true, you don't really harp on it too much.
hmm,
But the way his victim came off was very it was like she didn't really want to talk about it, and I think that that's what made such an impact on me is that this wasn't somebody seeking attention. This was somebody seeking for people to leave her the fuck alone, but maybe to get some off of her chest. Maybe she wanted to really just, for once, because as she stated, she
hmm.
had been holding on to this grief for so long that she needed to get it off her chest, and maybe that was the opportunity to do it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
To,
people shouldn't be surprised, bro. Everybody's getting outed, bro. Like,
to
you know
end
what
it
I'm saying?
off, like I would say, if I could give Zilla any piece of advice, is that I know he wants to get legal and he wants to like, and I kind of understand that in a way because it's like he wants this to go away, but the cat's out of the bag, and continuing to pursue legal with this is only making you look more guilty. I mean, Lil Tracy did something very similar. Puya did something very similar. Usually, when you're that harshly pushing legal, I'd say Zilla should just go on somewhere, like, whatever, do an interview with somebody, your buddy, doesn't matter who, and just come clean about, like, say this is what it was, this is what it wasn't, like, really acknowledge that to your fans, and then just get up, step away from Zillakami for like a while, like go say, Mom, go take your money, go travel, go find yourself, like just leave the internet behind, like go take a year and just like go experience the world, go figure out who Juju or whatever his name is, I don't know, Junibus or whatever really is besides Zilla, and just leave it behind. And like, yeah, people are gonna say bad things about you while you're gone, but it's like that way you can disconnect, like put the fucking drugs down, the nitrous down, get the fuck out of New York, get the fuck out of that circle with those people that you're around, get the fuck out of your mom's house, stop spending all day on Reddit and Discord and your video games. You've got enough money, just go out there, take the fucking costume off and fucking live, and then come back a changed person. And then people might accept you when you come back. Some people are always gonna say that that you're like a disgusting, you're into kids and all that. But like, I feel like if you do that and say like, yo, people might accept that more if you actually show that you want to make a change. But if you're gonna keep living your life like the video I put up today, in group chats, trying to convince your fans and trying to do this and that and just trying to hold on to it, the Zillakami character is now officially dead. So go rebuild it. Come back, be a better dude, be better for the scene, and just go from there, because you're going down a fucking dark path, man. Like, of just popping your brain cells out with these drugs is not going to lead you anywhere but a fucking early grave, and there's not going to be a fucking legacy behind at the end of it. Like, you're not going to go out like X where everybody loves you if it comes down to it. So just live your fucking life, man. That's what I would do. If I was in his scenario, I would do that. I would step away. I would go enjoy my money for a little bit, put everything off, and then come back. But will he do that? I don't know.
I think that's what a lot of people should do. I think because I know you get harassed in your DMs sometimes with people like harping about shit that don't really fucking matter, bro. Go outside, touch some grass, live your fucking life. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing the podcast thing. Is that the music is cool and everything like that, but to some degree, I had fun. I had my time. I fucked my life up because previous to me going to prison, things were definitely moving. Things were definitely shaking, and I went to prison. Fucking, not everybody is as fortunate to get out and to really still be able to keep the emotion going. I do think I have a fucking dope ass personality, so there's definitely more to come. Definitely more music I'm gonna be dropping with Lep and shit like that. But ultimately, I'm taking time to myself because that's what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? I hit you up sometimes where I'm not even able to do the podcast because I took that time instead of freaking out or using my friends as fucking stress balls and punching bags. I took the time to myself. I regathered my thoughts so I can get on this podcast and present myself as the man that I want to be. And that's what people got to realize. Get the fuck offline. You niggas are in the Matrix. You guys are in the Matrix and you're not Neo. You're in the Matrix, but you're not Neo. So like, bruh, either become Neo or tap the fuck out, bro. Like there's a whole world out there with connections and people that actually will love you, because a lot of times I had fucking hundreds of thousands of fucking plays and shit before I got booked, and I got locked up and nobody hit me up. I didn't receive one piece of mail, and that's okay. But just know that all the love that people get online, 90% of it is fake. So get in, get your fucking money. If it's working for you, keep it going. But don't forget yourself and don't forget the world around you, because when you turn off your phone and when you turn off your computer, there's still a world that you can experience.
Yeah.
And that's all, y'all, man. T, love you to death. Take it off, man. Listen, y'all, please hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, man.
Yeah, let us know what you want to hear about next, because I mean, at this point, it's time to any topics on the table, because shit has changed forever, for real. So, all right.
And leave a comment about who you guys think is up next. I would love to read the comments, and if you guys are down, like me and him will go through and we'll read the comments and everything like that and give you guys shout outs for showing love. But I really want to know your top 3, I guess, and I want to know it in from like top to bottom.
Yeah You mean like people who like not just big guys, like who they think is really gonna
or who they think is gonna ascend the throne.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'd love to hear that for sure. All right.